So, all right, guys, happy Friday to you. Welcome to Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. I've got my dear friend Paula Santana in the house, is playing co-hostess with the mostest. Paula, how are you today?
Good. Last week I was you. This week I'm Damon.
Man,
It's kind of very weird.
you got to set the
Hello,
bar a little higher.
you look way better than these guys. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Nobody wants to be this,
Yeah, I have hair. First of all,
your hair looks much, much better than mine. So
I don't have facial hair, thankfully.
Paula, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you more than you can imagine. So, all right, this is an honor, privilege. I'm super excited to dive into this conversation. We're going to go fast and furious. We've got David Solomon in the house here today. And David, you have a vast experience with manufacturers and from an international perspective. People are dying to know, like, how can I take my business to the next level? But before we go there, I have a little question for you, my friend. Are you ready? Are you sitting down?
I'm not going anywhere. That's for sure.
David, my first question for you, my friend, when you were a little guy growing up, who was your hero? Who did you look up to? Who just showered you with unconditional love? Who was your hero when you were a little guy growing up?
I got to tell you, so when I was a little guy growing up, it's really funny. When I was a little boy, I remember there was and this is how I'm dating myself back in the 70s. There was a barber shop around the corner from our house where I think I was like 5 years old. And I used to walk around with friends of mine who were like 7 and 8 years old. And we go to this barbershop, and there was this old gentleman, and Paula, you gotta picture this guy with the big stogie, old fellow. I thought he was old. They told me he was like in his 60s. So like for me at 5 years old, that's ancient.
Right.
And that guy would talk to me about life, and I'm thinking, I don't understand any of this, but he's so nice to me. I looked up to this man, and when we moved away from that, like I was devastated because I was never going to see the late Mr. Schaefer. Kurt, you just brought me back 50 years, man. That was so cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, shout out to Mr. Schaefer for, isn't that wonderful when you get that one gem, that angel that just, treats you like you're, a peer, treats you like you're already a man, and just here 50 years later still has that imprint. So,
and I got to tell you something. If I were to tell people the stories, what I saw in those barbershops, it's for another type of podcast.
Yeah. Even at 5 years old, you probably
absolutely right? Don't understand a thing.
Right. A lot of growing up very fast.
Let's move on.
We'll move on. So, all right. So, David, let's fast forward out of college. You start an international business career. Tell us a little bit about, like, was that on your radar growing up? Was this something that you wanted to do? How did you kind of get your journey started?
I got to tell you, I wanted to go to business school, and I just could not. I tell everybody I had ADD. I just didn't care. And I was like trying to coast through school, didn't work out. Ended up with a political science and history major. And when you leave school, there are only two things you could do with that: teach and go into politics. I wanted none of that. And of course, when I graduated, it was the worst recession since the Great Depression.
Yeah.
I was living here in Canada. It was terrible. It was like 1991. When I got to school, I remember Kurt, Paula, they told us, oh, when you get here, 2/3 of the people get the job of their first choice. When I graduated, 1 in 3 had a job. So it was terrible. And so my entry into sales was purely by accident. I wanted to get into the advertising business, and I got a job working with a local newspaper to learn how to sell ads. And here I am going knocking on doors. So I didn't even get into the international game. I was selling to my neighbors. It was fortunate that a few years later that I moved to Toronto with a toy company. They hired me to take care of local sales. And then we just grew. And then they brought me back to Montreal and said, you did so well in Canada. Let's give you the rest of the world minus the US and the UK. Let's see what you can do. Whoa, baby. 40 countries like that. We exploded our sales. I never had a better time in my life than those years in terms of, going internationally with toys. What can I tell you?
Well, absolutely love it. Paula, what are your thoughts so far?
I think it's amazing. I think like the best careers, I feel like in just my short experience in comparison and talking to people, always happen on accident. And I feel like maybe I should have had a few more accidents in my career.
Paula, the old expression, right? Man plans, God laughs.
Yes.
God was joking around with me for sure. There was no doubt about it.
Great sense of humor.
That's amazing though. What a great opportunity. And And toys, like it's like next to ice cream, right? What's the next best job?
And you know what? And when I tell people, oh, we were in arts and crafts, they're going, arts and crafts? That sounds boring. We hit it on the hottest time ever. It was like, that was like in super high demand. And so loved it.
So, David, let's go. So, we're going to go back there. Then, what I want to do is we're going to take a deep dive where you're at today. You're our market expansion specialist, if you will, and we're super excited to hear some tactics, strategies that folks can take away, some golden nuggets that they can apply to their business. But those 40 countries, what was, young guy, I'm assuming you're probably in your 20s and you're hitting all this, I mean, what was it like? Anything stand out in particular of like that one aha moment of like, man, this is just awesome.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember anything in particular?
I think the first time that I went to, where was it that I went to? I went to Mexico the first time on a business side, right? It wasn't the, let's not go to Puerto Vallarta or Cancun. This was Mexico City. And I'm sitting here with Walmart Mexico. And I'm thinking, I hit it. I hit the big leagues, baby. I did Walmart in Canada. Now here I'm with Walmart in Mexico. And what you discover is despite culture, despite language, everybody talks the same thing: business, growth, expansion, and what can you do for me? And because I had experience with Walmart Canada and my distributor, God bless her, Miriam, she was wonderful, but she wasn't sure how to work with Walmart. And here I am. I knew their language. I knew what they were looking for. They really taught me in Canada their strategy. So when I was talking to the buyer, she was like, oh, this is exactly what we want. And we doubled our business with Walmart. We were supposed to be thrown out. Instead, we're doubling the business. And the aha moment was really, truly understand. It doesn't matter where you do business. If you understand the pain point that your client has and how you can help them, you're a superhero. You're a superhero. And that is the key. And it doesn't matter where you are. And the language and the culture becomes secondary.
Right. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Golden nugget. Like, Paula, that was a drop the mic moment right there, right? Just like, helping. But David, what for folks out there, we're targeting, our target audience here are small manufacturers, and say, they've got hey, I'm raising my hand. I want to get into big box store. I want to get into a Walmart, Home Depot, like that type of thing. Was there, and so I'm going a little bit off script from what I had prepared. Is there anything in particular that helped you open a door to those big Fortune 500, those major companies? Anything that comes to mind for our small manufacturers? Any tips there?
Well, first of all, if you're a small manufacturer, and believe me, we started as a small manufacturer. Don't get me wrong. We were able to, Walmart Canada was 130 stores compared to the 2,000 in the United States, just to give you an idea of perspective, right? So it's not the same thing. But the thing is, I would build it up to going to a Home Depot or a Walmart. Don't jump to Walmart because you think there's a great opportunity. The scariest part, Kurt and Paula, is that we think we understand what they need. We don't. There's systems, there's infrastructure that you got to invest in. There could be setup. There could be a lot of things that you're not ready for. Plus, their demands could really be a strain on your cash flow, especially if you're a small company and you got to build up a lot of inventory. A lot of them believe in just in time, which means you got to sit on inventory. You got to sit on all that stuff, waiting for them to pluck it off your shelves. That could be costly. So it's better if you're a manufacturer than if you're an importer. But it scares me to death that a small company says, yeah, let's go after Walmart. Learn in the US, you guys have like retailers that can lead you to Walmart, lead you to Home Depot and Lowe's. I would not go after them until I've cut my teeth with medium-sized retailers, bigger retailers. Learn their language, learn their game, learn the ad game, learn the shelf game. When you're ready, then you go to Walmart. Not before.
I feel like that's such sound advice too, because it feels like it allows you to make mistakes, but the mistakes aren't going to be so detrimental or so catastrophic to your business that it allows you to make them and grow from what you're learning from those mistakes.
Absolutely. And I think that what you just said is key, is we're going to make a mistake. And I'll tell you, we did make mistakes. And oh my God. Oh, we thought we're supposed to ship it like this. We're supposed to put on a pallet like that. It was supposed to be positioned like this. And like, you don't realize the micro detail that these guys want. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, and the worst story was returns. And this is something that a lot of manufacturers aren't planning on. Yeah. When we did a deal with Walmart in Canada, said, listen, if the goods are listed $50 or less, throw them in the garbage. We'll give you the credit. Just send us the note. It doesn't pay for us to go and take it in, do this, da 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 da.
Mhm.
Well, guess what? They were shipping us goods anyways, and we have to deal with things. And so there's so many little details that until you're ready for it, don't go too big until you've mastered small and medium.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
Great. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Excellent advice. And so Paulo, though you're not a baseball fan, David, what I'm thinking, like, you start with the minor leagues and then get to the major leagues. Is that
You have to. You gotta learn the game because the
Right.
pitches, let's use that analogy, they're coming fast and furious when you're dealing with Walmart. When you're playing with a smaller guy, they'll give you a slower pitch for you to hit it out of the park.
Perfect. Okay, so let's dive in. We have a lot of golden nuggets on the horizon here coming up ahead. So David, so fast forward, you have this wonderful sales career, business career, corporate career. You decide to hang up your own shingle. Tell us what you're doing today. How are you making the world a better place, my friend?
How am I making the world a better place? Oh my Lord, that's a dangerous question. Oh, so what I got to tell you is what I discovered. There are some fantastic sales executives out there, fractional sales executives, who will come and help you build your foundation for your sales team. Find you salespeople, write your playbook, help you find the right customer, and so on and so forth. These are fabulous people. What happens is that they reach a certain point and then they go, wow, if we want to scale to another market, that's not our strength. That's not our superpower. So I discovered that manufacturers, they're 25%, about 1 in 4 manufacturers in America export. And the majority of them are like the big, mid to large. Very few small to mid are doing any export. They need help. And that's where I decided, let me bring my experience to them and help them to discover, first of all, there are over 190 markets that want U.S. goods. And let's go find them. But let's go find them the right way, not the wrong way where it's going to cost you your business. And so that's really right now what I'm doing is helping small to mid size manufacturers really see, first of all, do they have the right product? Do they have the right team? And now let's go see where's the right market fit for them. Right. That's it in a nutshell.
What do you find is one of the most, is there a number one factor? Maybe there's multiple. What's stopping those small manufacturers? Is there one particular hurdle that you see consistently?
Yeah, fear. The number one thing. So I did a workshop last weekend. Shameless plug. I'm doing another one next Thursday. But basically, we said there are 2 types of business owners: the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise is the one who's slow, waiting, scared, running to dot every I, cross every T, hoping the sky will be bluer, waiting, paralysis by analysis. I'll give you the whole shebang. And then you have the exact opposite, the hare, the rush. Oh my God, I found a guy. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Let's go. And doesn't plan out and realize, oh my God, I didn't think of this because I was rushing. Those are the 2 extremes. And so what I find now more and more is the tortoise. We have a lot with what's going on today, with the uncertainty that's going on. I don't care about your political inclination. There's a lot of uncertainty. And we can blame whomever. Interest rates, recession, tariffs, I don't care. That's scaring people. But it shouldn't. And those are the tortoises that I want to talk to, that there is an opportunity to export. But we got to get over your fear. And once you get over that fear, you realize the world's waiting for you.
I think that there's also, like, in retrospect of the hare, there's probably also plays a little bit of fear because they are trying to capitalize quickly, right? Trying to capture the market or capture like revenue profits quickly. And so I would even say that fear even plays in that area as well.
You would think that, but a lot of times, and I think that you're right in your analysis. What I find with the hare is that they're just trying to grab the shiny penny. And there's an opportunity there without doing the homework and realizing, so how will this impact my business if I decide to work with this person in that market? Who owns the property? Who owns the responsibility? Who owns the liability? Who owns the marketing? What do I have a distributor agreement? I got a lot of things I got to do before I go and, sorry, it's the expression, jump at the bed with this person. But fear should stop them. But the shiny penny syndrome gets more, I think, is catching them more than anything else.
Well, all right, great question. And so I love that. Now you mentioned your workshop. You had one last weekend. You've got shamelessly. And where's this workshop coming up? Where can people catch this workshop?
Well, if you come check me out on LinkedIn, I like that event is all over the place. It's actually Thursday, September the 11th at 9 a.m. Eastern. Shameless plug. And there's a link on our LinkedIn event there. Please register. It's free. Yeah. And I'll go through a lot of the details with my colleague, Michael Stewart. We go through a lot of the details and how to overcome, Paolo. What you just said is like, we talk about the tortoise and the hare, but we come up with a whole new type of animal that you should be when it comes to manufacturing and exporting.
Well, just by default, Paolo, for the record, I'm not the hare. I'm a tortoise, but just a little hair joke there. I couldn't help myself. But David, you are a fierce educator. For the past 10 years, you've been teaching a course at McGill. Talk to us a little bit about this course and what are you teaching wonderful entrepreneurs, students? What are you teaching here?
Thank you. It's actually a funny story, and forgive me. And there's a reason why I tell the story. So I stopped, Paolo, after 20 years of working, I stopped my career and I went back to school to get an MBA. And it's the scariest thing. I have ADD. I had 3 young teenagers at home. I gave up my career to go back to school, and I went, what the heck am I doing? But it was probably the best piece of advice my brother-in-law gave me, because I discovered that all the stuff that I was doing in my career had framework structure that I was never going to learn anywhere else. But when the program was over, the dean, I was 44 years old. The dean approaches me and says, so how can we make the program better? And I said, listen, I don't understand how you teach MBA students everything to do with business except sales, how to generate a dime. I don't get it. So she says to me, why don't you teach it? Well, I'm not a teacher. Are you crazy?
You called your bluff.
I'm like, oh, shit, now I'm caught. I said, I'm not a teacher. Anyways, she twists my arm. I give a lecture. She doesn't tell me she invites 70 of my former classmates. I give the lecture. It's really well received. And I built out a course 10 years ago that's called Strategic Revenue Growth. Essentially, how to be a chief revenue officer. But 10 years ago, that title didn't exist. So I built out this course teaching 20 and 30 something year olds. I have 2 groups of people. One are MBA students and one are Masters of Retail Management students. And they're learning about thinking how to grow your business through sales. But I align it with everything else that they learn because I've done the program. So it's finance, operations, HR, strategy, vision. I bring it all together and I say, okay, now you have to understand how you got to work with your sales team. So it's a lot. So Kurt, it's a lot of fun teaching these students. I just started again this week, another cohort. And it's amazing when the students contact me like years later going, I remember what you said in class, and I just experienced that at work, and so like real new market. It's all about what I do right now. It's new market opportunity for them, learning how to think growth. So that's really what I've been doing for the last 9 years.
Well, and I love the name Strategic Revenue Growth, because it's not like, in what I love about that, my father always preached, I don't know, he wasn't great at it, but he said, chase profits, don't chase sales. Chase profits, don't chase sales. So I love, you're saying revenue growth, but you're tying it in with strategic, and you're kind of bringing the whole thing together. And, and I love how you kind of called out the professor a little bit about like, man, you're not like, you haven't talked about how we make a dime here. And so, and now you bring that together. What's been one of the most rewarding things for you as a professor and having that experience with, I'm assuming over the years, hundreds of students, what's been one of the most rewarding things for you as a professor?
Kurt, when they call you back years later and they go, thank you.
The light bulb went off. Finally.
I've had to give students some pretty serious career advice because they don't get real career advice in university. And when I started teaching, my son started school. So when I started university, so I had university students at home. I just finished my program. So I knew what these guys were going through. And a lot of them were not hearing in school. They heard too much theory and they too much, everything, the world's your oyster and all this kind of bullshit. And at the end, when they get out to the real world, they realize, no, life isn't so simple. But at the same time, what I loved is when I get the students to explore beyond what they thought that they were going to do. One of the things that I do in my class is I give them a real world project. They need to find a real company and propose what I do for manufacturers, essentially is propose a growth strategy for them. And they need to be real. They need financials. They need to go out and speak to the business owners. They need to come up with something real. Almost every year, at least one student of mine gets a job offer from that company. And so like really what they're realizing is, oh my God, there's value here. Now I tell my other students, look, if you're not going to take the job, you can put that on your resume. And HR kind of went, no, the recruitment folks at McGill, they said, no, you don't have to do that. Students of mine who have done it have said it made such a difference in the interview process. Like, so tell me what you did. Yeah, I spoke to the business owner and we talked about this and we did this. Where are you going to get an experience like that? So the reward for me is when they succeed down the road after they graduate. To me, that's gold.
Cool. Nice. Awesome. Okay. Paul, anything that you want to add? Any thoughts, comments for what we're hearing so far?
I guess, I mean, in any conversation these days, you can't get away from it, right? Is like, how do you see AI playing into this? Into like the full education?
Look, I think AI.
Maybe that's a bigger topic, but
that's a great question.
Right, that's a phenomenal question, and I'm going to tell you something. And I tell this to all the businesses I work with. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm using AI to do homework and research, because when I want to understand the market, when I want to understand the trends, when I want to understand what's going on, AI has been a phenomenal tool. But AI is not going to build my growth plan. Exactly. AI is not going to speak to the people on the ground on what's the market like, what are the tendencies. And so, I mean, AI is not there yet. The machines haven't taken over, but certainly we're at a point where AI is an important tool. And by the way, I tell my students the same thing. I want them to use AI in my class, which is freaking out the other professors. But I tell business owners, if you haven't thought of AI, and this is not my expertise, but if you haven't thought of AI as you're scaling, you're going to be behind. So time to talk to your, head of operations, your CTO or whatever, and you got to think of putting that into place sooner rather than later.
Right. I think that's really great, and kind of in a nutshell, as a creative, everyone thinks like, oh my gosh, AI is going to do your job for you. And the truth is, it's like, it's not there to do your job. And someone has to input the ideas, has to know how to talk to somebody in order for the output to be actually relevant and applicable and actually be able to produce a result. So regardless if the AI is doing the work, you still have to know what all of the terms are. You have to know exactly what your pain point you're trying to solve and who you're solving it for. And so that's really excellent and totally true across many industries.
I'll add one more thing to that. And I have a friend of mine here. She's in Montreal, just north of me here in Montreal. She goes into a lot of manufacturers and she sees that their data is a mess. And she goes up and organizes it, cleans it, streamlines it, whatever. So then when they do put in AI, the right thing comes out. It's not garbage in, garbage out. It's real critical stuff for business. And I've told a lot of companies, like, you got to start thinking that your data has value. And as we scale, if you don't start today, when you scale later on, it's going to cost you a lot more, and it can be a lot more painful if you don't think about it then. So that's just part of the conversations I have with business.
Yeah. All right. Love it. So David, let's go here. So again, love the course, love the title, Strategic Revenue Growth. Now you are, coming in with that strategy. Let's talk to that manufacturer out there. First off, they need to connect with you on LinkedIn. So do us a favor, connect with David on LinkedIn. You'll thank us later for it. So he puts out wonderful content. He's got a great workshop coming up. And also, you can just tell he's just a fierce educator on helping manufacturers. Now, you have a thing where you help identify, plan, and execute. So let's talk to that manufacturer. They have 50, 75 employees, and they're in that fear mode, right? And maybe they've hit a cap or there's a lot of uncertainty. Let's talk to that manufacturer. What are some tips or strategies? They've hit a ceiling. They need a little David Sullivan to come into their lives and take it to the next level. What's kind of a 101? Like, give them a starting point. Let's get through the fear. How can we get the game started?
So, and by the way, shameless plug, this is what we talk about in the workshop. So I'm happy to share this over here as well. The first thing is we need to make sure that the products that you have make sense to export. So let's start with the pain point. What pain point are you solving for your client? So what I'm asking you to do, and I tell this to everybody, is you can have me come in and I'm happy to be there, but bring your whole team together around the table, your leadership team, your head of sales, your head of ops, everybody around the table, and say, let's talk about, we have 2 questions to answer around, actually we have 3 questions to answer around the table, but the first 2 are, so what pain point do we solve for our clients? And what are we offering that's so unique? And then I'm going to ask the question, who's the ideal customer? Now, the reason I break it up into 2 is the first 2 are related to each other. The pain point and the uniqueness of the solution. And it's going to be an argument. And I've seen business owners and head of sales argue because they see it differently. But I want you to have that same conversation with your best clients. I want you to go to your best top 20, 30 clients and have the same conversation. Now, if you say, I don't have time, then don't export. You make the time. This is an investment in your business. So don't leave this to your sales manager to go out. You, business owner, go speak to your best clients and say, so what do we do right for you? What are we solving? And how is it unique? And how is this beneficial to your business? And be honest with them, saying, listen, I'm looking to export. I want to learn from you. What is it that we do? When those two are aligned, now you have those two questions aligned. Now you got to define your ideal customer. And the reason, and the reason this is why I want everybody around the table is sales might likely tell you one thing, and finance is going to tell you a different thing. Sales is going to say, this is our best customer because they're easier. We go out for coffee, golf, whatever. And finance is going to go, no. They buy more. They pay us faster. They're da, 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 da. And operations go, no, these guys order more frequently and we ship them better and easier. Define your best customer. Once you have those three answered, now you can find the market that you're looking for. That's the foundation. This is what I tell everybody. You start here. And you don't need me. But boy, I've done this many times. But if you can get this done with your team, you will find whether you're really ready or not, what needs to be tweaked and fixed to become export ready. That's the first thing I would do. That's the foundation to this all. Don't jump this step, please, because it's likely to hurt your business.
Okay. Phenomenal advice. All right. Great starting point. So really understanding and how, if you've got three different parties that are saying like, this is our ideal buyer persona, how do you meld that? How do you,
that's the thing is you got to sit down as the CEO, it comes to you and say, who do you want to deal with?
Right.
And honestly, it's a blend. It'll be a blend of all these things. There's no one right answer, but it's got to be a mix because look, sales might say we want to go after customer A. And finance is going to, but we lose money with customer A. There's your criteria. We don't want to lose money. We want the most profitable clients possible, the ones that are going to order the most frequent. Those are the kinds of guys that I'm thrilled to have. And sales is going to go, oh yeah, that fits this kind of customer. Super. Now, this is where you start. Now, when you go look for a new market, you may not find that identical person. But that's your starting point. This is where you want to be. And this is where you want to explore. Does this ideal customer still want what I have in that new market? If it's not, then you can shift a little bit, but you need to start somewhere.
Okay. Phenomenal advice there. How, and so I don't know this might be the dumb question of the day, right?
No dumb questions.
How do you pick the market? You identify the ICP because my ICP here might be something completely different internationally. How do okay, so now there's a big world out there, right? I'm going to leave my comfort zone. I'm getting out of my, continental 48. Am I throwing a dart on the wall? How do I pick that first great market?
Well, okay. So when I sit with a business owner, we have a conversation and say, tell me your vision. Where do you want to go? Give me your 5, 10 best countries you want to go to. And generally it's always the big names, the better names, the more common names, whatever. That's great. But now we do the homework and we look at global, I want to go look at global reports. And this is where real research comes into play. And you say, okay, who are the leaders in this area? Who are the countries that have this most demand? And that's when we start matching their list and our list, and we start bringing those two together. We want to have a list of about 10 names. And from there, we want to narrow it down to 3: size, ease of entry, because there are a lot of other things that come into play. Because I might want to go to country A. I'm US, I want to go to Canada. Super. But there are testing laws that you're testing things that might say, it's not worth it. Let's go to the UK. So you need to look for these elimination factors on external things. There's an acronym called PESTEL. Sorry, I'm using this term, but it's politics, economics, social, technological, environmental, legal. What are these 6 things that could prevent you from going into a market or be a reason to go into that market? You might find a market where they're throwing money at people like you because they need you. Wow, let's further explore that. So it's internal factors, it's customer factors, and then it's those 6 other factors, the external factors, will help you to narrow down where you want to go or where you shouldn't be going.
Okay. All right. Man, I hope everybody's taking notes. This is a master class, and you're just getting a sliver of what the workshop is.
Yeah.
So without giving away any secret sauce, David, do you have I guess we could go on one side or the other. Do you have like a incredibly rewarding story that you could share of like, man, we just kind of rolled the dice, we took a shot at this particular country. So either one of your clients or maybe from your previous life, is there a particular situation where like, man, we were a little skeptical, we didn't think it was going to go that great, but boy, this turned into a wonderful relationship? Anything come to mind?
It's funny because as I'm working with some clients, we're discovering, some of our more recent clients are starting to discover that. But I got to tell you, I was working with a technology company for a while, and we were looking at Europe because it's a technology, it's real estate, and you're like, maybe we shouldn't do Europe. And I'm like, no. Europe is growing, exploding, especially the southern part of Europe. And I said, let's look at Greece and Italy and Spain and Portugal, etc. And the business owner's like, no. We could do the US. And I'm like, no. The US doesn't want what we have right now. It's too competitive. We argued. Anyways, I ended up finding a Greek developer. We sat and we talked for hours and said, you'd be stupid not to be doing Southern Europe. And he says, I'm going to help you. And we opened up this client in Greece, which then led to other countries in Southern Europe starting to talk to us. Now, I left the company at that point for a variety of reasons, but the business owner looked up to me and he says, damn it, I didn't think you could score this one, but man, and it turned out to be such a massive contract for the company.
Nice.
It made such a difference. So, we looked at a trend and said, could we own that trend? But it took homework. It took research. It took finding the right prices. The relationship. Language was English. That was the cool part. Everybody spoke English. That company had people from all over the world. The only language they spoke is English. And cultures didn't matter and everything didn't matter. And that's where the business owner was like, holy crap, I can't believe we did that. That is so cool.
Well, what a phenomenal story. Yeah. And, one common theme, you shared earlier about the relationship at Mexico Walmart. And as you're describing these, it's building a relationship, right? It comes down to those relationships.
I'll tell you one thing we're really not great at in North America is recognizing the value of relationships that other countries have. When I went to Mexico, and I won't share who that person was. She was at Walmart, and in Walmart in Mexico, Walmart US and Canada, you can't take a buyer out for a drink. You can't take them for lunch. You can't do anything. It's verboten. Well, in Mexico, we took her out for dinner. We had because you had to build relationships. And I was in Japan, and I got to tell you, I drank a lot of sake with people. And this is what it's all about. It's not only food and drink. It's about getting to know people, because people want to do business with people they like and trust. Yeah. And if you are not ready for that, don't go to those markets. But the majority of the world, and this is what I teach my students as well, the majority of the world works on relationships. North America's fallen behind on that. It's too bad. We've gotten to be too transactional.
Yeah.
And more KPI, OKR driven, as opposed to, I want to do business with Paula and Kurt because I like them.
Yeah.
Right. Phenomenal point. Yeah. Paula, what are your thoughts?
I think that's great. And I almost kind of feel like, there might be a little bit of culture and societal, like, I guess, what the market or what's going on plays on that, because I felt like that's growing up in the 80s and 90s. I felt like all you had to do in order to do anything, whether it was having fun or having business, was having those relationships. I think that's a really key. It's kind of sad because you do. I would rather work with people I like, know, and trust as well. That's what I try to do with my clients who I work with. There's some reason why I want to work with you, because I like you for some reason, or we've had discussions, or whatever that may be. And
but trust is a big thing.
And
when you go and when you go and you look and you talk to people in other markets, that is like the number one thing that they want. And is trust. And if you can't forge it, it's not going to happen from a LinkedIn connection, and it's not going to happen from I'll send you a cold email. You got to get to know the people in that market, and then they are going to love you to pieces and work with you.
Right. And I'll tell you, and you did a great job laying out, strong encourage if you just came in, hit the replay button or catch it later. You're talking about that, understanding, people always use that like the pain point, but just understanding what is their frustration, how can you help them? And you're describing, how do you make, you make them a hero, right? And just like when you're a little guy, Mr. Schaefer, right? He made you feel like a hero. Just be like Mr. Schaefer. That's our takeaway today. I'm gonna we've got some comments here. We've got some people stopping by. So Frederick says, good, David, good commentary. We've got this friend here says, I love to join your live stream. We've got a comment here. Your streams are amazing. Frederick says, great point. So guys, thank you for your comments. Thank you everybody out here. This person, they give you a thumbs up. So thank you guys. Thank you for joining us. We always appreciate it. David, we're going to start winding down. Question for you. Number one thing to be cautious of or to be concerned about going internationally, any points of advice, any guidance there of like, how do I not go in with my blinders? How do I go eyes wide open on my side as the exporter, as the manufacturer? What are your thoughts there?
Let's go back to the beginning of this podcast. I told you, don't go to Walmart until you've conquered small to mid-size. Don't try to go after too big a market until you've learned how to export. And that's why I tell some companies, maybe try the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, try something small, let your team learn, adapt, because there are legals, there are all kinds of other nuances, then go bigger. So yes, we tell people you can go 20, 25% revenue growth in a year. Absolutely. But sometimes slow it down a little bit so that the company can learn, and then boy, oh boy, hit the accelerator.
Absolutely love it. Hey, we've got a comment here from a friend saying, I think we all want to do business with those we know, like, and trust. So important. Explanation point. I agree. Frederick says relationship is one key culture in Africa to help build business. Couldn't agree more with you guys. So
hey, Frederick, shout out to you, because I just spoke to somebody in Nigeria last week. We had a 20-minute conversation on that, and the folks in Nigeria are wanting to do business with people, and they want to have relationships with Americans, and the Americans are like, whoa. And he's like, man, you're missing out a phenomenal market in Africa. So great comment, Frederick.
Awesome. All right, we're going to wind down. A couple last questions I could keep you here all day, David. I said, what did I say, Paul? 30, 35 minutes. We're going all right. So David, what are you super excited about from your perspective? I know there's a lot of uncertainty, but man, when there's uncertainty, there is opportunity. If you can remove the emotion and just kind of like see through the trees, what are you super excited about from an international perspective for your clients, manufacturers, the students that you're teaching at McGill? What are you super excited about?
I'm super excited that there are more opportunities than we know. It's like, it's not what it used to be. It's not like, okay, there are only 5-6 countries we could do business with. There are 190 countries out there. There's so much opportunity out there, and they want American merch. They want goods from America. There's so much opportunity, but there's also, if I'm not in the United States and I want to ship to another country, the U.S. is gold. It's great, but look at the other markets. There are so many emerging markets. Frederick, from Africa, it's an emerging market. Brazil, everybody's beating up Brazil, but look at Argentina reemerge, and look at other. Man, the world is changing. It's exciting, and I think that Paolo, you talk about AI. I think AI is going to change the market, and a lot of more things are going to emerge for people, and opportunities are going to be out there. So, eyes wide open, right? Eyes wide open, and check it out.
Big world out there. Paula, any last questions, thoughts, comments you want to add?
I think that kind of ties into kind of closing out, but you hear about especially when you hear the news or you talk to people or you surfing online, you always feel like there's an uptick in everything, whether it's crime or, to your point, like you can't do business outside the United States, whatever. And it's like, sometimes you just have to dig a little deeper. You can't take what's being out there face value, because that is being intentionally thrown into your face, right? And so it feels like there's an uptick in whatever, or it feels like a lot of that is happening when really it's not. It's just in your face more often, because we have cell phones that have news cycles on it. You have your social media, people are posting out things. So you really have to do your homework, and you really have to dig in. And so, like, in connection with that, like, how do people connect with somebody like you who can actually help them maybe clear up some of the confusion or the misconceptions out there?
Look, you reach there are unfortunately not a hell of a lot of people like me who's doing what I'm doing. But right now, before you speak to me, sit down with your team. Are we ready to go? Can we grow? and then let's have a conversation, because if your internal team isn't ready, it's just not going to happen.
It's not gonna happen.
You know,
I love that.
You got to make sure your team. It's like you use a baseball analogy. I'll use a football analogy, right? Your team is only as good as the weakest player on 11-a-side football. If the lineman isn't in right position, the quarterback's going to get sacked. If you guys don't have all 11 of your departments lined up, the team's going to get sacked. You got to be ready, and that is above all. Do that before you call somebody like me.
Well,
that's great.
And speaking of international, we've got our friend here, Rubina. She's from Bangladesh. So again, guys, thank you for dropping the comments. Thank you for the notes. Strongly encourage you, invite you, welcome you, connect with our dear friend David Sullivan. If you guys have any international aspirations, David is the go-to guy. He's been doing it for 2 or 3 years now, right, David? It's been a couple of years.
As an independent, 2 years, but my career it's like 35. So
35, been a few decades. You still
just a few decades.
So Paul, we get on a call and I'm he's got to be like good 10 years younger than me. We're about the same age. I'm like, God, you look good. So, all right, last question, David. Last question for you. You mentioned baseball. When you and I got in a call, we talked about Montreal, the beloved Montreal Expos. So I have a little baseball question for you. Ready?
Go for it.
Sitting down. Okay. Bottom of the ninth, tied score. Bottom of the ninth, tied score. There's a guy on second base. Okay. 2 outs. They've got to. Montreal's got to hit him when like we got to get this game over with. We got dinner reservations. Come on, let's get this game over with, right? The manager looks down the bench and says, "Hey, Solomon, grab your helmet, grab your bat, get up to the plate, hit in the winning run for goodness gracious, right?" So you grab your helmet, you grab your bat, you're walking up to the plate to hit in the winning run. What's your walk-up song on the way up to the plate?
Oh my God. So I'm a huge Billy Joel fan.
Oh,
so my wife so for me, it's got to be one of those. It's going to be. It's still rock and roll to me. That's my that's it. It's still rock and roll to me.
Dude, you just won my wife's heart because there's a brand new Billy Joel documentary that just came out.
Oh, I gotta watch it. It's supposed to be amazing.
She's seen Billy Joel multiple times, and we watched this documentary. And so, all right, so I will share that with my wife. Thank you. Frederick says he's from Ghana. So again, connect with David here on LinkedIn. David, one last question. Best business advice that you've ever received that you would love to share with our friends out there? What's the best business advice, especially you as a newer, long-time career, 35 years, but a newer entrepreneur? What's your best business advice?
Always be learning. I think that one of the things that is crazy is if you think about it, when you and I started our careers, what was this internet thing? Like you think about it, this internet thing was just new, right? Now, Paolo, with AI, what is this AI thing?
Right.
The careers that we have, I have good friends who are in careers that didn't exist 20, 25 years ago. To me, it's what I tell my kids and I tell everybody, always be learning, be open, be vulnerable, be coachable, learn, because man, the opportunities are out there.
Man, drop the mic on that one. So awesome. All right. How about let's you know what? If you've been hanging out with us for the past time, seeing 43 minutes and just getting golden nuggets from our friend here, David, it's a great time to stand up and stretch and give David a huge standing ovation for just absolutely crushing it today. Man, this was a masterclass. This was a privilege for me, David. Thank you. I know you're super busy. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to share this with us. Connect with David on LinkedIn. Paula, parting thoughts, words of wisdom that you want to share as we close out?
No, I think that this was such a great conversation. I think you could take a lot of this to any experience that you have. And I really, in particularly, like the 2 things that really struck to me that I've kind of shared with everyone too in the past, and Kurt, you can attest to this, is like, talk to your team and talk to your clients. Like that's where you're going to really get solid data from, are those 2 people. And it's okay to have those uncomfortable situations, because you can only grow when you know what your issues are, or what is working, what's not working. So awesome information today. A lot of good nuggets.
Well, thank you. David, thank you. And I love your line earlier. God has a great sense of humor. So, hey, God bless you, your family, and your business as you continue helping manufacturers out there. So, guys, we're going to close out today. David, hang out with us for 1 second. Again, thank you all in the chat box. Thank you all who caught us that didn't drop a note or comment. Again, please connect with David on LinkedIn. And, guys, we will see you here next week. So, Hey, have a great weekend.
Thank you guys. We appreciate it.